Hey everybody, welcome back to World History with Mr. Finn. We are back at our map to take a look at kind of the end of the Roman Empire, for which we've been talking about. If you remember, the Roman Empire actually extended pretty much all the way through this entire area and in North Africa, which is kind of off our map here, but the entirety of our European map is what the Roman Empire was. Now, Rome had been divided into half, with the western side of the empire still being the capital city of Rome. In the east, we had the capital city. Today it's called Istanbul. I don't know if you can see it from here or not. The name isn't really important. But the point is, this was a capital city of the Eastern Roman Empire that was named Constantinople after one of the emperors that we saw, Constantine, who made this his capital city in the east. And there was a lot of difference between the west and the east. If you remember, they were Greek-speaking. They were very political. Things were moving really the same as it always kind of had been with the Roman Empire. On the eastern half, people had money. There was the economy. There was money. The monetary system was still all good over here. But really, the western half of the empire is going to start to not do as well because for the longest time, the East had kind of propped up or kept the West going, and its capital city of Rome benefited from all the wheat and the money and the stuff from over here in the East. Now the empire has been split, and Constantinople's here in the East and Rome is in the West, and the western half of the empire does not do as well as the East. Also, why I have this map, we're going to talk about some of the barbarians that we mentioned. What's going to happen is a tribe called the Huns, which we will go look at in a second, is going to come from Asia, which is over here, and move this direction. As they move this direction, other barbarian tribes, again, barbarian just means they lived outside of the Roman Empire, which stopped right about there. So tribes that lived in this area started to get pushed, and they got pushed into the western half of the Roman Empire, and they go, we'll settle here. Is this okay? The Romans said, you can settle in this area, but you need to be part of our military. Remember, Rome had become an increasingly authoritarian or dictatorship type, empire. So the people that moved into this empire were not moving into the Roman Empire of the year 100 where things were great. They get here and they're like, this isn't good at all. You're telling us what we can and can't do. You're treating us like garbage and whatever. And they're going to revolt. And when they revolt, they actually defeat the Western Roman forces in this area, which kind of opens up this floodgate of different barbarian tribes, seeing that the West is weak. They go, listen, Rome is weak. This area is weak. We can attack them. And what's going to happen is the western half is going to collapse, and that's what we'll get to today. So this is just the idea. First, when I talk about the Huns coming in this way, they push these other barbarian tribes into the Roman Empire, and then once they get in there, they're going to revolt and take it over and cause major problems for the Roman Empire. So there we go. You are where you need to be. We need to say goodbye to our map. All right. Barbarian tribes. Let me make sure you're straight here. There you go. Some of the barbarian tribes we need to look at. The Huns. You're going to be looking at them. The Huns are going to be coming from Asia, and they're going to be moving west. And like I said, this is the group that's going to come in, and they're going to move these other groups into the Roman Empire, namely these two, the Visigoths and the Vandals, will be the first to what the word is called sack Rome. Sack means to take over or to conquer the city. And this is going to happen as early as 410 AD. Let me tell you this. The Roman Empire itself is not going to collapse. I might as well put it up here so we have the date. Rome falls in 476 AD. So basically for about almost 100 years, and at the death of Diocletian and Constantine, we are going to see that Rome is just limping along. They're getting sacked, they're getting taken over, they're getting invaded by all these barbarian tribes. And again, the first to do it are the Visigoths and then Vandals in 410. And it's not good. At this point, Rome, its population is down. There is nothing good in the western half of the empire. They are just at the mercy of these groups. We're going to see the Celts all through Europe as well. They're going to be Europe 2, more specifically, the area of today, England and Ireland. We're also going to see the Saxons this way too. The Angles is another group. There are a lot of different barbarian tribes: Huns, Visigoths, Vandals, the Ostrogoths, Celts, Saxon, Angles, the Huns, tons of them. And they all know one thing. By the time we're getting to around the year 100, they know Rome is weak. And that is important. They understand that Rome is weak and it is there to be taken over. They can steal a bunch of gold and silver and things like that. And that's what they do. They just continue to invade and attack different towns and settlements in Western Europe and the western half of the Roman Empire. And there is nobody from Rome that can stop them because all the power is in the east, in our capital city of the east of Constantinople. Let me write this up here for you. Capital of the east. And in that area, everything's great. The capital of the east of Constantinople, everything's fine. Things are continuing to be perfect. They're like, hey, it's rough for you guys over there. Feel bad that you guys are dealing with all these barbarians. Things are pretty good on our side, and they just keep on going along. And Constantinople is going to be very, 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 very rich. So, the long and short of it is, let's just get to the end here of this date, 476. As throughout the 400s, we see all these different barbarian tribes attacking in the east in Constantinople, on the eastern side of the empire. Everything's fine. They're just kind of watching this all happen in the west. We are finally going to see why we give it this date of 476. The last emperor is defeated. So that's why we give it that date. So in that year of 476 AD, we are going to see the final Roman emperor. He is defeated, leaving the western half of the empire to kind of fend for itself. What's going to happen? We're going to see what happens in the western half of the empire and in Europe following the Roman Empire, especially with, when this system of government, this system of a country or an empire just stops existing. What do the people do when your government disappears? What happens to the people living there? And we're going to see a lot of that coming up. So, for today, last time you just turned your notes in. I do want to see your notes. But I do want you to take some time and look up these different groups. And I want you to tell me a couple things about them. So, I'm going to have you give me fun facts. Fun facts about our barbarian tribes that I have up here. Let's do, since you have a few of them, let's do two for each. So, 2 fun facts about the Huns, 2 about the Visigoths, the Vandals, the Celts, the Saxons. We are leaving out a few of them, the Ostrogoths and the Angles and things like that. But 2 fun facts from each of these groups. Tell me something about them. Where did they come from? Who were their leaders? What did they do? Anything about these groups of barbarians and what their culture was like, to get an idea of kind of the difference between Rome and these people who lived outside of the empire. So on that note, make sure you get that to me today for participation and attendance purposes. And we have seen, we're there. We hit it. 476 AD. Rome is no longer in the west. It will continue in the east, and we will take a look at what happens now moving forward again, when your government ends up disappearing. I will see you next class.